members across the continent, our partners, thank you for coming in and, joining us for the final day. So today is the final panel discussion of the AfriLabs Annual Gathering 2020, a conversation with the AfriLabs Board. So the purpose of this panel is to basically hear from our board members about the vision of AfriLabs, why we do what we do, learn more about our programs and plans for the future, how we engage with other stakeholders of the ecosystem, such as investors, academia, and policymakers, and finally, a dialogue with all of you today, the audience. So before we start, I would like to introduce the AfriLabs Board. It's also worth to note that all our board members are representatives of hubs across Africa. We have Rebecca Enonchong, board chair of AfriLabs and chair of Active Spaces Cameroon.
Hi, everybody.
Kudza Mubewa, board treasurer and founding partner of iZone Hub, Zimbabwe.
Hi,
Maltaz Helmi, AfriLabs board secretary and founder, the District of Egypt. We have Fatoumata Nyong, our board francophone representative and executive director of Jokolab Senegal. Linda Kwamboka, AfriLabs board member and manager, IBIS Kenya. And finally, Takunda Chingonzo, our newest board member elected by AfriLabs hub members at the AfriLabs General Meeting, which happened last week, the 7th of October, 2020. Daniel as well will be joining us shortly.
He's here. He's there.
Daniel is the founder of Innovation Growth Hub Nigeria.
He's here.
And just as I was saying, Takunda just joined the board, and we're really, excited to have you on board. And Takunda is also the founder of Tech Village Zimbabwe. Now, to go straight to the questions today, Kudzai, right? This year, the AfriLabs community, led by the board, adopted a new vision statement: an innovation economy in Africa driven by the power of the community. Can you please tell us more about the importance and significance of this new vision for the African innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystem?
Absolutely. Thank you, Anna. I want to start by saying, and my esteemed chair, did say this at the very first day, that we were very careful. We took a long time to go through this. We exchanged, phrases back and forth. We exchanged experiences back and forth. We looked into a crystal ball. We thought about where we want to be as Africa, and we came up with this very compelling vision. I'm very proud of it myself, and I know my fellow board members are as well, because we were very thorough. We were very careful in terms of picking every single phrase. And our vision being I think thriving really speaks to life, speaks to things that have come alive. Yesterday, I was very fortunate to chair, a panel on innovation when we had some of our very key ecosystem leaders speaking around innovation. And I know that the community came in with all sorts of different, definitions, but we sort of arrived at a simple one, which speaks to us doing things better for us as a continent. And so when we say our vision is a thriving innovation economy in Africa, we are cognizant that all of us are working within our continent, and within our African context. What we want to make sure we do is to have a strong, thriving economy that is alive, an innovation economy where we do things better continually and deliberately driven by the power of our community. Now, when you say community, it's interesting because it actually speaks to two things. The one is the obvious one, the AfriLabs community, and I'm always very proud to say that we have, about 225, innovation spaces represented in at least 47 African countries and working with at least 1 million entrepreneurs and innovators. And we are saying that those numbers that we have and that representation we have across the continent is really the backbone for us building a thriving Africa. We are acknowledging the fact that we are now living in the digital economy, we are living in the innovation economy, and we are saying that as Africans, we can do it. We have the people, we have the resources, we have the resilience, we have the communities. Perhaps as a last thing, one of the things that came out of the conversation we had yesterday was the fact that when we speak about innovation in an African context, oftentimes it is us going to as far as a village, going to as far as, a city, and looking to see what are the things we can be able to build on that are already existing? What is the existing technology? How can we improve on that using new technology and doing it our own way as an African way? So I want to say that this vision is a very compelling vision. We are seeing in Africa where we can make things work for ourselves. As Africans, we need to solve a whole lot of difficult and important problems. And so when we do that, we will thrive, we will innovate, we will strengthen our economy, we will have economic development, and all of this certainly, Anna, will be driven by the power of the community we have, our community of hubs, and the community of Africa. Now, I don't normally like it when people say Africa is a country, but when it comes to this vision, I want to say that we are indeed one big continent looking to do the same thing, and we can do it, and certainly we will. Thank you.
Did Anna
disappear? We might have lost Anna.
We've lost Anna.
We've lost Anna, but I think we can keep the conversation going while we wait for her to join us. I know certainly she was going to ask you, my esteemed board chair, Rebecca, to talk us through, throughout this gathering, we've heard a number of things, lack of startup funding, lack of support for African startups in their need for building their own ventures, connecting to the right networks. And we know that AfriLabs, in partnership with, ABAN, which is African Business Angels Network, is about to launch Catalyst. You did speak to this, or we actually spoke to that before. Would you mind telling us a little bit more, perhaps for those that didn't catch that session, in terms of Catalyst? What's the importance of hubs providing additional support, mentoring, mentorship, monitoring to startups post-funding?
Oh, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about one of my very favorite programs in AfriLabs, and what I really hope will transform the early stage funding for African startups. This is a very, very different type of initiative. We haven't seen this before, and so so that makes it even more exciting because we created it. I think that what's important is that this was a program that was created by Africans for Africans, and understanding really what the needs are on the continent, and then really tailoring a project to meet those needs, and then going out and trying to find the money for it. And so it's not a copy paste. It's not something that we've seen before. So really, I just want to explain what it is now. It's called Catalyst, and it's a joint initiative between AfriLabs and ABAN. And for those of you that don't know ABAN, ABAN is the African Business Angels Network. The African Business Angels Network is an organization that promotes early stage investment by Africans into African startups. And so they try to support the business angel community, the business angel investors that are, try to organize them. They're almost like the equivalent of AfriLabs, but on the business angels side. So that they have networks of angel investors. And then those networks are members of ABAN. And so they try to support angel investors by giving them master classes, training them, giving them the type of support we give our entrepreneurs in the hubs. Because what we've realized is that there are African high net worth individuals that want to invest in the startup community, but they just don't know how. They don't know the lingo. They don't know what a term sheet looks like. They don't know how to exit. They don't know. And so ABAN has been supporting these investors, trying to organize the angel investment area in Africa. And so we partnered with them. We signed an agreement with ABAN. That's AfriLabs did when we were in Dar es Salaam, when we had our annual gathering 2 years ago in Tanzania. And so finally, last year we signed this, so we signed an agreement saying we were going to work with them. And then that last year, we decided what that would look like. And this year, we're finally going to launch this program, which is a matching program. So if you're a hub and you're watching this and you have startups that you're supporting, and we're helping you support those startups through our capacity building program to help you be a better hub. So if you have a startup, and if an angel investor that's in an A-band network invests in one of your startups, it has to be an AfriLabs hub. So the startup must be in an AfriLabs hub. Then the amount that angel investor decides to put into the startup that's in your hub, we will match. So we will match it up to 20,000 euro. So if it's under 20,000 euro, we will match it 1-to-1, which means that if the angel investor puts in 20,000 euro, we will put in 20,000 euro. And if the investor, because we're trying to encourage angel investors to put in more money, if the investor puts in 30,000, we will put in 60,000, right? So that we will double the amount when it's above 20,000 euro. Now, 60,000 is the maximum that we can match, right? So we can't provide more than that. As part of this initial rollout, we can't provide more than that. And to make sure that this is a truly Pan-African program, it will be limited to 2 transactions per country. So that will give the opportunity to, to countries that don't necessarily get a lot of angel investments or a lot of investment news, that will give them their opportunity to get to have this. Now, for the hubs, because you will have the responsibility to report back on the progress of the startup, you get 10% of the matching money. So 10%, whatever your startup gets from the matching program, the hub will receive 10% of that to allow you to better support the startup, because you're doing work and you deserve to be compensated for that work. And so this program is really meant to strengthen the ecosystem, to organize the ecosystem, and it will allow us to have data, to have information on the progress of startups once they get the funding, how many more jobs were created, how many more customers did they have, how much more revenue did they have. So what the real impact of investment in early stage startups. And so we've raised so far 1.5 million euro from the Agence Française de Développement, the French Development Agency. Thank you for that. So, it's so funny because, especially in Cameroon, French people are not that popular. France is not that popular, but I love them. I love you so much. Thank you so much. So I just want to say that, sorry. Thank you very much for trusting us. It's really important to say this because nobody else has funded this, and so we're hoping that we can now take this, and it goes in as a grant. So it doesn't go in as equity. So the startup, for the angel investor, it's equity, but for the startup, it's a grant. For our matching funds, it's a grant. Actually, I say that's important. And also, one of the guidelines is that for the angel investor, it cannot represent more than 15% of the ownership of the company. So you don't have to lose a lot of equity in order to be in that program. So really get your startups, really to join the hubs, really, and apply for the program. Thank you very much. I think I went over my time, but I'm the board chair. I can do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rebecca, and thank you for just taking up the mantle. Thank you for Kudzai. My internet over here is not good, but yeah, we're back on now, so quite excited.
And SARS.
So, Daniel, yeah, yes, SARS must end SARS. So, Daniel, now more than ever, the importance of Pan-African connection. Okay, fantastic. So, Daniel, now more than ever, the importance of Pan-African connections and intra-African trade is being emphasized. This is also largely driven by the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and with more startups looking to scale beyond their countries in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic as well. We've also seen hubs looking to support startup scale via virtual services. Now, as part of the AfriLabs board, we're currently leading the implementation of AfriPass, a product of AfriLabs, which will enable startups within hubs access hub services in other African countries virtually. Can you tell us more about AfriPass and the significance with the African Continental Free Trade Area, and in the wake of COVID-19 forcing us to explore new ways of working and hub collaboration?
What happened?
Did I get cut off? Yeah.
Yeah, but okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I must say it's a great honor and privilege to be here and to be alive during this period. All of us, the world has experienced a very great shaking, and that's one of the reasons we are having this annual gathering virtually. I can see through the eyes of people how it would have been strong for us to be together, engage with each other and all that. Africa has been going through a phase of growth that we will understand that there's a need for Africa to buy from Africans. There's a need for Africans to buy from Africa. And then the trade agreement has been one of the things that have been championing this. But if you notice, this trade agreement doesn't have so much, there's not so much represented for the startups, okay? But one of the things we're doing now is to see how startups can actually scale within Africa, because that's one way this will be so strong to yield a lot of results with respect to startup scaling from one African country to the other. It shouldn't be a problem for a startup that has thrived in Nigeria to expand to Gambia, to expand to Ghana, to expand to Cameroon, to expand to Egypt, from the west to the north, or to the east, or to the west, So it's a thing we must keep thinking through. And one of the things we have decided to do, build the AfriPass. We've been talking about AfriLabs Passport. So we have a product now that is on top gear production. It's called the AfriPass. Now with the AfriPass, every member of your hub can go to any place across Africa that are AfriLab member hubs and use the services they provide there. Remember, it's not just to use the space. Use the services they provide them. Let's say you provide registration support services, accounting services, any service your hub provides. Someone is scaling into a country because there's an AfriLab member hub that provides these services. We're able to leverage on that at a very good rate and then use these same services for this startup that is growing. Now, so it will be a beautiful thing for startups to want to identify with the hubs, even in their home country, before they scale. It will be a beautiful thing for growth. It will help, by the time this happens to 1, 2, 3, 4 startups, you see that expanding into new countries or new frontiers was made easy because of relationships we have with AfriLab and because of what AfriPass offers. It would be easy for startups to brace up and say, okay, let's expand to Nigeria. For example, you have something that is working well in Zim, and you want to bring it to Nigeria, you are not scared because Nigeria is 200 million country. But you know there is an AfriLab hub in Nigeria, in the east, in the north, in the south of Nigeria that you can work with. Okay, and with the growth of national hub associations, okay, it's easy for this to go around a particular country. So the integration, the connection amongst hubs is one thing we are focusing. We are not joking with it. We're focusing on it strongly to see how this happens. And then another beautiful thing we are looking at is to ensure that hubs are sustainable. I know a number of hubs that are struggling, that are not making revenue. We keep thinking, how do we ensure that hubs become sustainable? How do we ensure that hubs make revenue? It would be beautiful to make revenue beyond the shores of your country. I was telling my team last week that any money you make from outside of Nigeria comes to you in USD. It's a foreign earning. And foreign earnings help hubs grow. So with this integration, with this AfriPass, you are able to list all your services, and then other hubs will see your services and say, oh, this hub is doing A, B, C, D. It's possible I can learn from that and bring for hubs to learn. It will give opportunity for hubs to learn as much as possible. It will give opportunity for people to get to know more of what services hubs are providing. It will give opportunity for people to expand or scale without fear. So a lot of things is going to happen. We have shared our timeline. Okay, between now and end of November, we'll have the first phase. We'll launch with West African hubs. By January, we'll bring on all the hubs across Africa that are AfriLab members. And we're going to make it seamless. It's going to be strong, and we'll keep improving and do quite a lot with it. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Really insightful thoughts around the importance of connecting hubs to support startup scale and our strategies for that as well. I'll go over to you, Linda. One of the key stakeholder groups of the AfriLabs community, which we collaborate with as AfriLabs, is the academia. Now, you've been part of one of our academic-based member hubs for years now, and also currently lead our partnership with an African university, Strathmore University, which you're also part of, with plans to engage more African and global university partners. Can you tell us more about this and why African hubs need to work with universities in the work that they do supporting startups, and also what other related programs we can look forward to in taking part of soon? And before you start, Linda, I'll just like to remind the audience that if you have any questions, just drop it in the Q&A tab, because we will be taking questions for the board. If you have any questions about AfriLabs, our programs, how you can engage, just drop your questions. If you have individual questions for the board members themselves, in terms of their individual work as well, just feel free to drop in the Q&A section. So Linda, over to you. Linda, are you?
We can't hear you, Linda.
We can hear you, Linda. Can you check your mic, please?
Okay. Can you unmute?
It doesn't show that she's muted, though.
Mark said earlier that she should disconnect and reconnect for sound. So maybe we could move to another.
Yeah. Oh, okay, that's fine.
She's back.
Reconnect.
Check her sound.
Linda, are you back on now?
No sound.
No. Okay, so while you're testing your sound, I will move on to Takunda. So Takunda, as the newest member of the AfriLabs board, freshly elected and minted, And no pressure, but we're all waiting to see what you drive and your vision for AfriLabs as an organization and as a community. So can you tell me more about that?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. So first and foremost, it's an incredible honor to be part of the AfriLabs Board. The network has grown tremendously over the past couple of years, and I think we're at a point where we're moving in an amazing direction, and we have a very bright future ahead of us. And I think that becomes the biggest challenge for a person like me, joining a train that is spanning from Cape to Cairo, from east to west, across the entire continent, and that is moving, and to figure out how to add more value to this. But personally, when it comes to my vision for the network, the first thing that I think I've been thinking about and working towards is looking at how to increase the intrinsic value of the network as we grow. And our numbers are, after this, are naturally just going to continue growing exponentially. But we need to begin to understand how to, develop and empower micro networks, special focus groups within the network. And I think we've had sessions that touched on this, on the formation of the national associations, and all of that. And this is important because the spectrum of innovation on which, the member hubs are working on is very, very diverse. And we need to make sure that the network continues to cultivate and provide value, intrinsic value, for all members across the board. And so, we're promoting inclusivity, we're promoting diversity, we are buttressing and strengthening the connections that hubs are making, and not just for the purpose of, linkages, but to make sure that those relationships actually translate to value. I know Daniel touched on this just now, talking about that foreign earning and how that strengthens the sustainability of hubs. But over and above that, hubs play a very key role in influencing policy. And I think Linda will probably touch on this one if she's able to join us again. But we need to play a very key role in influencing policy. And we've seen a lot of, national startup acts and policies being discussed. IFO policy as a stakeholder of the network has done quite a bit of work around this. And so we need to be able to cultivate and build the capacity for ESOs and hubs to be able to do this within their ecosystem. We also need to strengthen, the engagement for stakeholders. And I think, our esteemed chair touched on this, how we're working with ABAN and the creation of angel networks within countries, and how Catalyst sort of compounds the value of that, making sure that hubs are central to all of these activities. We're looking at engagements with our education, our academia and universities to make sure that value is cutting across and buttressing what is happening with our member hubs. Now, over and above that, I believe that we need to be more aggressive in how we tell our stories. The things that we talk about today effectively creates the history of innovation and entrepreneurship support, going into the future, and it acts as a barometer, as a compass to direct where we are going. And so it is important for us to begin to tell these stories. Tell the stories not just of the startups that we're supporting, but of the hubs themselves, where they're coming, where they're going, why they exist. And this shared narrative of promoting entrepreneurship by Africans and within Africa, it is very, very important. And more than just that, we need to build as a network the infrastructure to make this possible, to make the telling of stories seamless and more efficient. And stories only make sense if we are also able to quantify the impact of what we're doing. And so it's important for us to begin to develop a universal language through which we understand impact, because that way we're better able to tell the world what we're doing as a network, and to trickle down that same impact down to what the hubs are doing in our countries. Only by doing that can we begin to show the world, to show the different stakeholders that we have, that this network is truly a force, to reckon with. That what we're doing, the agenda that we are on, the mission that we have taken upon ourselves, is that of development of the continent and not just of our individual interests as member hubs. I believe this is where the network has to become stronger, has to cultivate. And again, these are not new things. We're simply building on the work that the network has already been doing, on the different initiatives that other board members and the Secretariat has already been championing and strengthening this and taking it into the future. That is personally my vision. It's an audacious one, and I know that through our esteemed chair in this board and the Secretariat as well as the members, that we will achieve, we will deliver this value, and we will tell a much more impactful story at the next annual gathering. Thank you.
Really welcome, Takunda. Really, we're so excited to have you on the board, even though now we have two Zim. And actually, Kudzai, she actually takes, like, she's like 4, right? So you are overwhelming our board now, and but thank you very much, Takunda. I'm so glad that you joined the board. Congratulations on your election, and it's we do have a lot of work ahead of us, and we're happy to have such a great team to that you joined our team to make this organization better. Thank you so much for that. Going back to Anna for the next. Kudzai, are you going?
Kudzai, you're muted.
Kudzai, you're on mute.
You cannot mute Kudzai.
You're mute, Kudzai.
You are the new moderator now.
Yes, I was actually saying.
So Kudzai, like, we wish we could mute her, but we can't. So, yeah. So, are you? Please, can you take over as our moderator?
Certainly,
because you're so good at it.
Now. Thank you very much. So Linda is here now, and I think, Linda, I could hear you saying you're on mute, which is the statement of the year 2020. And so we'll immediately ask you to get right into it. We know that you are one of the, you really work with one of the key stakeholders, of our AfriLabs community. We do want to collaborate with, academia. I did speak of community before. That's a very important stakeholder for us. And you've been part of an academic-based member hub, in fact, hubs for years now. And you're also leading our partnership with Strathmore University. Now, would you tell us more about this and perhaps why more African hubs need to work, with universities in the work that they do supporting startups? Would also be very interested to know, any other related programs that you're aware of that we should look forward to taking part of soon.
Thank you, Kudzai. It's funny how you have to kind of find creative ways to use the technology you have. It's not as straightforward. So for all those who want the audio to work, please try and use incognito, and that will work. And thank you, Rebecca, for that tip. I do wear different hats, and I am based at Strathmore University. And I've seen the power of academia in terms of research and also creating a pipeline through which talent can then be used and utilized to build new innovations. So whenever we have new innovations, we've seen them being tried in universities that have, I would say, fund attraction kind of power. And these kind of trials and experiments can be utilized by different people who want to solve problems. And I see that to be an entry point for universities. But aside from that, once universities use new technologies, then they're able to put it out in the market for people to utilize. And then they become the first level of foundational, I would say, product development that other people can build upon. But in addition to that, also, we do have the different professors, the different lecturers or thought leaders who are within campus, and they've worked on several case studies that are lying there on the shelves. And it's a statement that we've had years and years coming in and out, and hubs should be able to utilize that kind of facility and resources and bring those innovations to power. And looking at universities as well, there's a lot of capacity and communities that are satisfactory within the universities. You will find that the legal arms are there, the innovation labs. We will find engineering available, finance, marketing, business leadership. All this creates an ecosystem of itself that then the hubs can be able to plug themselves or attach themselves to, so that then it becomes very easy to and affordable for new innovations to utilize these resources and talents on campus, I would say. But then also, one thing that the hubs can give to the university is the nimbleness and also the advancement through which universities can quickly adopt innovative ways and designs to run curriculum. We don't have to go through the traditional classroom kind of facing, and of course, COVID has shown us that. But and most universities, as we've seen in Africa, have always confined themselves to buildings And not just in Africa, all over the world. But now, what Innovation Hub and what we have seen in the networks and different labs is that they're able to connect not just physically, but provide this curricula and material to more people outside. So the hubs also bring in that perspective. And as well, sustainability. You find that we focus so much on raising funds as universities in terms of school fees, and other people will use a different term for this, but instead of looking at it in terms of tuition fees, we can look at it as supporting entrepreneurs and combining them with researchers in order to raise funds to build something that solves a problem. And finally, of course, universities are known to be a neutral ground that then attracts people to freely express themselves. And hubs, if they're attached to university, they're able to achieve this kind of, I would say, neutral, collaborative kind of environment. And one of the things that you've asked Kudzai as an additional question is, what are some of the interesting programs that we can look forward to? Now that we have all gone global, of course, we are African focused. But now that we've gone global, we're looking at how do we partner with different institutions or universities or higher learning institutions of higher learning. And one of the exciting things that we're looking to do, hopefully, in collaboration within our AfriLabs network, is to work with the Stanford Center for Professional Development, where we're looking at matching most of our innovative ideas and thinking as Africans and combining it with all these resources that have been there in terms of building ecosystems, innovative labs from different partners. We have Basel University, Stanford University, and in partnership with Global Innovation Catalyst, we would like to support 1,000 entrepreneurs within the AfriLabs network, and some of them who can then become instructors. So we're looking at 100 instructors from the different hubs and supportive organizations within our network. And they will go through a 12-week program that is an experiential learning vehicle, and it's very project-based. So maybe looking at cutting edge businesses, product development practices in terms of creating a new venture, or if you're a local business or starting a new venture, or within your corporate setting and you want to start a different line, we'd like to support you through this the Stanford Center for Professional Studies certification program that is called the GIX Instructor Development Program. So we hopefully you can reach us through our booth. We have a booth here at AfriLabs. I've had very few people mention their booths. So please look out for Founder Square Ventures, and would like to interact more with our entrepreneurs, innovators within the ecosystem, and hopefully channel you towards this program. So thank you so much, Anna and Kudzai. I hope I was clear.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Linda. You're as clear as an academic. You're even putting out points. We're taking notes. We are ready for the exam. So thank you very much. Just to keep the conversation going now, I think we'll just move across to Fatim. And we know that, we all know the importance of engaging policymakers as an ecosystem, just to create an enabling environment for startups. And we know, Fatim, you've been doing some wonderful work. You're aware of wonderful work. And one of the foremost and successful examples in this approach has been the enactment of the Senegal Startup Act. And the Senegal government to support, their pledge to support startups. Now, can you tell us more, Fatim, about this and why we need to drive more African hub engagement with governments? Would really love to hear from you on that score. So if you can go ahead and unmute yourself, Fatim, and you can take it away. Looks like we have a slight delay. Here's what we'll do. Motaz, would you want to just say something? Well, I know you did have a few minutes before, but perhaps while we wait for Fatim to come back, you could talk to us around Rollo, just maybe in 1 minute, because I know you had a session just before, but I know some people have only just tuned in. Do unmute yourself,
sure.
Motaz. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Koji. Thank you, all the board members, all AfriLabs team. You are really amazing. This is was a wonderful experience so far with you, all of you guys. So basically, Rolo, it's a new project launched and co-designed by AfriLabs and the African Union and the UNDP. The whole idea came after the COVID-19 pandemic and outbreak. So the issue was how we can support AfriLabs hubs to and support them to play a bigger role with the formal and informal sector, with SMEs in general. So we thought about this issue, how the hubs can go beyond their physical presence. So the idea was to create and co-design a software or a simulator where all SMEs in Africa can be present and can take business decisions inside this simulator. And the idea behind it is really to try to monitor and try to understand SMEs behavior, SMEs decision-making process in the formal and informal sector. And this is like a data collection platform where we monitor 120 enterprises coming from five countries in Africa. So in the pilot, we decided to five hubs from AfriLabs decided to create this consortium where they work in their region. And in each country, we are selecting 24 enterprises. And the idea is to bring all those enterprises in a simulator in a 3 days online boot camp, and monitor their decision-making process. So they have to take decisions in a critical situations, in different market outlooks, in different financial outlooks, and we put them under pressure and see how will they react, how will they take decisions. And we are extracting from those different type of data, and those type of data are recycled in different contexts. The first context that we can use those data, for example, for policy guidance or for policy recommendation for government. Tell them, look, AfriLabs in your region working on different SMEs, and this is what we found working with them. And here, if you increase your taxes, the performance of those enterprises can decrease, for example, or we can predict what can happen in the future through this simulator, through bringing all SMEs in a simulator in a different market outlook, in different contexts, in different regions. And if we can predict what will happen, we can better recommend for governments and for the hubs where should you invest, for example, or the investor, where should you invest, for the government, what are the modeling of SMEs in your country? And if you have the modeling, the decision making, their psychology, African entrepreneur psychology, you can better propose a bill or a government law or anything that support SMEs and the startups as well. So this is the first time we try this kind of simulator in Africa, and it's very so the pilot, we are targeting 360 participants from 5 different countries. As I mentioned, we have Egypt, we have Sudan, we have Cameroon, we have Senegal, and we have Zimbabwe. The consortium started with these 5 hubs, but we, inshallah, if we succeeded to prove that this concept can be feasible and can be applied, we will expand to more AfriLabs hubs. We will implement through all the hubs in AfriLabs network. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Motaz. I'd really love to know. Listen, I come from Chakawa village in Zimbabwe, and if I'm in that space or for wherever I might be, what really is a business simulator? I loved how you were talking about data. I'll speak to that shortly. But what's a business simulator? What does that mean? How does it work?
Okay, business simulator have been invented since 70s. Okay, and it's used in some academic universities in the US or in Europe. the idea we collect data from the market and we try to model those data in a software. So it's a software based platform, and the idea is that any entrepreneurs in Africa can take his investment decision or his strategy or his marketing decisions in a platform, competing with other peers, competing with other SMEs, and try to see if his decisions inside this simulator will make him the highest profit or the lowest profit. So sometimes the profit can be because you take the right decision, you can have a high profit because you take the right decision, or because your competitors are taking like the wrong decisions. So it's very difficult to really understand what is happening. And this is the whole idea that in the market, in the real market, we don't have an explanation for every behavior we have, or explanation for what everything we're doing, or our profitability, our market share. A lot of things are not really understandable inside this simulator, but and this is a very important concept to prove to the entrepreneurs that you have to take a lot of assumptions as well when you design your business model in your company. And it's not really about building business model canvas and stuff like this, because it's very dynamic. Market is really dynamic. It's very competitive. Like it's not about very static image where you put your partners and stuff like this. Partners change every day, and the pricing can change as well every day. So it's really a very complex platform, and the idea is to really to bring this idea that not everything is explained or in real market.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Just gonna try Fatim one more time, and then we'll get ready to cross over the Q&A to the chat section. So Fatim, hopefully, I think I can see you unmute. Please go ahead and take it away.
Okay, thank you, Kudzai, and hi everyone. So I'm very happy. First of all, I would like to thank all my estimated co-boards. You're just amazing people, inspiring all the community. So thank you for being here. I know we're all struggling, some of them because of a very bad and terrible internet, but I would like to say that we as board members, but also as member of a very great community, we are just always trying to find solutions for entrepreneurs. Something which is very interesting is to say that giving them capacity building, giving them new tools to work better, but also involving them into a new perspective, which is involving them into the policies for them. So that's what we made, and I wanted to share this experience with you, which we made it almost 2 years ago with the I4 policy, and being inspired by the Startup Act that made in Tunisia. We made in Senegal the first gathering where we got members of the community all around Africa who came, who participate and elaborate what we call the Startup Act by doing, first of all, an hackathon. This hackathon was to produce all the policies that entrepreneurs need, and for that, what we made is that all members of the community, entrepreneurs, private sector, public sector also were involved into the process. And that process makes something very great, which is a signed document from the assembly in Senegal that allowed startups to be involved on the process of their policy. It's a huge thing, and I think this model has been replicated also in West Africa. I think 2 months ago or something like 1 month and a half, it was in Rwanda, by the way, and it's a very successful model that we want for all around Africa, involving private and public sector to write what we really need as an entrepreneur. These policies are own perspective, and it was very important to have all these people around the same document, around what we really need, and around which can allow and could allow the growth of all our structure into Africa. So that was a fantastic moment that I wanted to share with you, because it's also kind of model where AfriLabs is just making things goes well for entrepreneurs and for the community. So we are for that. I just want to launch something which is you, member of the community, you are the part of your life, you are the part of your story, and never forget to be involved in every process that you're seeing can allow to improve the condition of all entrepreneurs. So thank you very much. I think it's time maybe for our community to have some question and answers from our sides. And thank you very much, Kudze, you rock, because as a moderator, you did it well. And thank you to our chair, our Rebecca, that we all love and which is just incredible by doing things. Welcome once again, Takunda. I love you, Daniel. Mutaz, you rock with everything. Linda, go straight with university. And you know what? Daniel, you're just a beautiful and very vibrating people. So thank you to all. Thank you to our secretariat. Anna, you did it well. Thank you for these 3 great days that you made possible by your great work. So thank you. And I'm sorry I got terrible internet, so I cannot be on live totally with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fatim. We appreciate we totally appreciate, and like you said, we certainly want to cross over now to our community and have you engage. I've just been trying to track some of the things in the chat. There's some very vibrant conversations going on. Perhaps I would invite that if there are any further, questions, for some of them you're answering amongst yourselves. Oh, yes, Rebecca, you can come in.
While you're doing that, I just want to remind everybody that there is simultaneous interpretation for every session. Don't ask me how it works, but I know that there's I think you might have to download the app to do that. But if you look through the AfriLabs on Twitter handle, there are some posts where there are some tweets actually which then explain how you can access the. Si vous voulez entendre en français, on a tout fait traduire en français en direct. Et donc, si vous allez sur AfriLabs sur Twitter, les instructions pour entendre la traduction simultanée sont là.
All right, merci. I would proceed. And get into the chat, but before I do that, just a quick. Okay, Daniel.
Merci.
No
No
wonder why there's a whole song about you, Daniel, my brother. Now, as we proceed, and I can see we have a few more minutes, I just wanted to highlight the fact that not only do we have a really phenomenal vision, we also have a really powerful mission. And I would invite that when you get the time, visit our website, read under About Us. But one of the things that you'll find in our mission, or perhaps I should just quickly read it out, is to support innovation hubs and their communities to raise high potential entrepreneurs that will stimulate economic growth and social development in Africa. And I want to just draw your attention to this bit where we say, we'll achieve this through capacity building. And on this one, please, we are on the way. We are doing it. There'll be a powerful presentation later this afternoon on people who are getting grants. We know of all of the work that AfriLabs team has been doing. We'll achieve this through financing, networking, policy advocacy, and finally providing insightful, reliable data. I just want to speak quickly to that. Some will call it data, some will call it data, some will call it data. Whichever way, we certainly are on the way as AfriLabs with a desire to make sure that we are more data-driven in our decisions. And so maybe just one or two things just to reflect on that is be a part of that mission as well. All of us as a community need to make it come alive. Let's be very deliberate as hubs. Let's be very deliberate as a community in collecting data, in analyzing data, and then interpreting this data to make it real, actionable, insights. I think one of the key things that we are really specially, especially situated as AfriLabs and indeed as hubs is to really, collect information, collect data so that everything we do in the future is data-driven. It would be really wonderful if we are the go-to place, for data-driven decision-making, in Africa, in one form or the other. And so I'm going to cross over now to our chat box, and I'm going to open up to our, to our esteemed board members to come in as and when they can, just to sort of treat some of the concerns, issues, statements that have been put in there in chat. Perhaps we'll have time to indulge 3 or 4, and then we will be done. So I'm going to start with the fan base that's saying, I must applaud the AfriLabs team. You are amazing. I agree. They're totally amazing. So someone is asking, new membership group. I raised this last year for another membership group for non-hubs, but organizations that are not large enough for corporate memberships, like perhaps the Googles, GIZs. What do you think? I'm going to put that in there and then soon invite anyone who is willing from the board members. Here's yet another question there. Someone is saying, as AfriLabs is growing, there have been suggestions for opening up regional groupings that can operate under the umbrella body to enhance closer engagement for the hubs as the numbers grow. So as a board, do you have an initial take on this? And is it something that you could perhaps decide or perhaps engage on further? There's another one for you, board members. And could we have a link where all ongoing future AfriLabs opportunities are published, like a one-stop shop? Okay, I find that has been somewhat treated, but perhaps someone could comment on that. And let me see if there's any other new ones, because people keep pumping things in, and so I keep rolling up and rolling down and rolling up. Okay, great. And someone is asking around role. I'm sure, Motas, you can treat that. Do we begin to encourage our hubs to apply? What do we begin to do from today? Okay, it looks like I'm going too fast. I'm really sorry, Henry, trying to pack in as much as I can. So I'm going to slow myself down now. Oh, yes, someone was saying I was expecting to see Nekesa so we can show her some love for her amazing work. We totally love her. We totally love Nekesa. You will see more of her in her new role. But again, I would also allow perhaps my chair to talk on that. So just to open up to the board, I think those 3 things, let's talk about, what do we think about going regional at some point in order to bring our information together, and a whole lot of other things that have been spoken. Perhaps, Rebecca, you could go first, respond, and then I would come to you, Takunda. Linda, you can weigh in. Fatima, I hope you're still there as well. So I would kind of like call upon you just to give a response on any one of these, and I think we will be done.
Yeah, so before I answer that, I just really, the only reason that Nekesa isn't here is because Takunda is here. So Takunda took her role on the board, but Nekesa is our Chief Strategy Officer. She is still part of our organization, and she's still very, very, very much involved in everything that we do. And so you may not see her as part of the board, but she's part of the team. So I just wanted to say that. So she's right here. Actually, she's here. She's backstage. So she's not even very far. She's really like part of this, even this event and this panel. She's just watching backstage. So back on the question of regions, this is something that we have talked about. We have not implemented yet. We are seeing, this is definitely a topic of interest as we're growing. A couple of years ago, 3 years ago, we had 40, 50 hubs. So it didn't make as much sense. But today, it definitely makes a lot of sense. I think there are multiple reasons for it, not just because we want to be able to be closer to the different communities, but our different regions have different needs, and they have different levels. So sometimes it makes sense for regional communities to come together. But we need to see, we're working on national networks already. trying to make sure that the hubs in each country already organize themselves within their countries through the national hub networks. We've seen a lot of growth there. This is something that's relatively new. We've only started seeing in the last few years, and really has come to fruition more within the last 1 year. We're seeing more and more hub networks create themselves and build themselves. So I think that that's one role. And then once those national networks exist, then creating regional networks will be easier to do.
Thank you for that, Rebecca. I think that treats two important things. Takunda, would you want to give a quick response?
No, I think Rebecca touched on the key elements. I think the idea is to begin to have that conversation, but to be mindful that we want to do that in a way that continues to increase the growth and the efficiency and the value within the network, and not to then create silos that fragment and structure and break apart our network. We want to continue on the path of growth and curation. Yeah.
Right. Thank you. Linda, any thoughts?
Great. So part of the reason why we would start thinking about national and regional networks is because we want to contribute to things around policy. And currently you've seen that we've seen the Kenyan ecosystem talk about the startup bill. Amongst other countries, of course, are talking about these kind of policy frameworks to support innovations in the different countries. And one of the things that we're very keen on in our vision as AfriLabs is building stronger African economies, and I see that the national networks will contribute greatly to this. And if you want, we would like to support you in Kenya to see how then, if you want to create those in your countries, we have the Association of Startups and SMEs of Kenya, for instance, and I'm sure there are others in other countries. I'm just giving an example that is very close to me. And talking to these kind of networks that are already there and existing, and then seeing how then it becomes a regional thing, let's say if it's East Africa, Southern Africa, but more to speak to strengthening the economies of Africa. So I see that to be quite important. If we can drive those conversations that way, I believe it will give the innovations a seat on the table. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I can see that we're out of time. I have perhaps 3 minutes. So Motaz, a quick one from you, and then we can wind it up.
I'm all good. I didn't hear the question, so could you can?
Oh, all right. That's fine. I think it was just really someone asking around whether we should now mobilize people to get onto Rollo. So I'm sure it's a yes or no.
I think it's rolloafrica.com is the website. Is that correct, Motaz?
Yes, exactly. Yes, yeah. Yes. And from tomorrow, our AfriLabs team will start the campaign. So expect to have all the information tomorrow.
Good job. All right. Thanks.
Oh, I see Mark. We're going to get kicked.
Mark is here.
Mark is here.
Mark is here. So I'm going to hand over the reins. And thank you very much to all of the esteemed board members. Thank you for the sterling work you do. And I'm going to defer to Mark now just to wind up for us. I'd hope to ask Rebecca to give us a parting shot. But maybe let me defer to you, Mark, because you keep staring at us.
You have no sound, Mark. Oh, I'm going to talk then. I'm just kidding. Mark, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you.
Mark, we can't hear you.
Well, since we can't hear Mark, Rebecca, can I ask you to close for us?
He's asking you to move to the other room.
I would be so happy to. I'm incredibly proud of this organization, of every single one of our board members and our executive team. They have done such a great job to not just put this event together, but if we looked at it, for those of you that attended the general meeting last week, you'll see how many programs we are working on for our community, for our entrepreneurs. I mean, imagine the numbers. Were we talking about this? Were we even dreaming about this just 3 years ago? Would we imagine that we would have 225 member hubs in 47 African countries, 105 cities? that are supporting a community of over 1 million African entrepreneurs. This is tremendous, an accomplishment, and we ought to be very proud of it. Anna, I can see you.
Yes. I'm not on. It's just got to struggle all day, but yeah.
And I think it's a real testament to what we can be as a Pan-African organization. We can do things that actually support our members. People should know this is a completely, like, the board is 100% volunteer, right? And so we're doing this because we're committed. We're doing this because we really feel passionate about the African tech story, the startup story. And so I think that if we can see, from north to east, south and west, how Africans can come together to support each other and to build the continent. I think AfriLabs is a testament of where you can take an organization when you feel passionate about this story. And so we're hoping that our friends at the AU and other Pan-African organizations will get inspiration from AfriLabs to say, hey, young people and old can come together and commit to a better Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rebecca. So thank you to everyone who, the board members. Thank you to you guys. Thank you, Kudzai, for just taking up the mantle with my internet just going on and off. We do suspect it's because of the protests going on right now and SARS. And just for the sake of those that don't know, SARS is a special anti-robbery squad in Nigeria, which we young people are just fighting to end because of the terror on our young people, specifically those in the technology ecosystem as well. So thank you all for your support. Thank you for joining in. I will be handing over to Mark right now, who will talk to us about the next section this afternoon, which is our AfriLabs Capacity Building Award ceremony. We will be awarding 17 hubs with a grant for their projects under the AfriLabs Capacity Building program. So thank you so much. This session was amazing. Great.
Thanks.
Mark, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can exit the panel now. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's you and I. Thank you.